I think of dialogue really in terms of music. When I'm learning a part, I say it over and over and over. And it's not when it starts to make sense. It's when it starts to sound right. And it's kind of like that with people. Different person can say the same thing. And in one case, it's interesting. In another case, it's not. One case, it can be threatening. And in the other case, it can mean I really like you a lot. It's the old thing if it's not what you say, but the way you say it. And I think that that's how I approach dialogue. It's when it starts to sound right. It's when it's okay with me. And if somebody says, well, that doesn't make any sense, I don't care so much about that. I just care about whether it sounds right. There is something about that scene in Pulp Fiction. I had that scene for, I think, 4 months, and it was 8 pages of dialogue, just talking, 8 pages. And I was doing other things, and I would spend a certain amount of time every day just repeating that speech and learning it. And every time I got to the end of it, it made me laugh. This watch, that's for you. And I know what you mean about as the speech goes on, it starts out very normal. He's just a guy talking to a little boy. And as it goes on, you realize that he's absolutely nuts. And it's kind of like that with people too. You know, you can be talking to somebody at a party, and at some point you think this guy is completely batshit. That's how I felt about that speech. You know, he's talking to this poor little boy, and suddenly you realize that he really shouldn't even be in the room with this kid, you know.
Such a great scene in Pulp Fiction. Christopher Walken is just a legend, isn't he? And that scene specifically is such a memorable scene. Incidentally, Pulp Fiction was categorically thrown out of LA. It went around LA. Pretty much every script guru, every script expert said it was nonsense. It was a terrible script, and obviously, I think it's one of the top 10 in the top 10 best films ever on IMDb. Superb. So Christopher Walken here, for me, he's talking about script learning. He's talking about line learning, and something that is something I repeat over and over again. And that is that if an actor doesn't fully have the lines in their body, so it's a natural reflex to deliver the line, then it's not going to be possible to deliver an authentic performance. It's just not. And so many actors, even professional actors, even famous actors, many of them struggle with actually taking on lines. And there are situations that I've been involved with, and I've worked with actors who are very experienced that have just not been able to deliver their best performance because their mind has been on remembering the lines or calling for a line, or something has not flowed. And that is part of the reason why I developed the line learning superpower, because it is an essential part of an actor's process to be able to fully take on lines fast, because in TV and film, the turnaround is very fast. You must be able to have that connection and be able to embed the lines so it is just free flowing. If you're thinking about a line coming out, then in my opinion, you're not in character.